Welcome to Impact the World, a podcast from West Park Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is where we discuss topics related to how we can all love God, love people, and impact the world. Here's your host, Tara Hayes.
Welcome to Impact the World. I'm your host, Tara Hayes. This is a bonus episode. We are starting a new series of bonus episodes that we will call Partner Highlights. And today I have my very, very, very good friend with me, Stephanie Kozik. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi.
This is exciting. You get to be the very first partner highlight.
Woohoo.
You're a trendsetter. I've known this to be true for years. Stephanie and I have been friends literally for decades. We have a very long history.
Yes.
A very fun history. So it's fun to sit down and chat with you and let people listen in on our conversation.
I'm glad to be here.
So, like I said, we've known each other for a long time. Back to school days.
Yes.
We won't talk about how long that is. We've already talked about today that we feel old. But everybody get ready because this will probably be we could be a several hour conversation easily, but it won't be. We'll rein it in short at some point. We'll keep it short. But for those who might not know you, which is just mind-blowing, really, that people might not know Stephanie Kozik. But for those who might not know you, or if somebody outside of West Park is listening and has never met you, tell me a little bit. Tell me, don't tell me. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
I am Knoxville born and bred. I was born downtown and lived here my whole life. My mom and dad and my sister and her family and brother and his family still live in the Knoxville area. I went to school locally, grew up here, went to West Park from 16, started in the youth group and kind of grew up through there, went away to college and came back, worked here in the workforce, was involved in college and career at West Park and was on staff at West Park.
Yes.
And now when I come back home, I get to spend time with my family. I'm the proud aunt to 3 nephews and 2 nieces that also live locally, thank goodness. And yeah, I have a business degree, so I've worked in probably 7 or 8 different businesses around the Knoxville downtown area before the Lord called me to missions.
You've made the rounds.
I made the rounds for sure. So I worked on staff here in the youth department, but I was also volunteering with preschool.
Yeah.
And
what years were you on staff? Because you were on staff. I'm trying to remember if you were still on staff when I came.
I was on staff from the summer of 2004 through the autumn of 2007.
Yes. So you left right after I came. Mm-hmm. You were like, listen, if you're going to hire her, I'm out.
Only one of us at a time.
They could only handle one at a time. So then after that, after you left staff at West Park, the Lord led you in a very different direction. You had been local all your life, many years. One of the few people that can say I was born and raised in Knoxville. Yep. And so tell us a little bit about what happened during that transition and where the Lord took you.
Okay. Actually, when I came on staff at West Park, I was finishing up close to a year-long stint, a short-term but longer short-term ministry in Athens, Greece. And then Not Tennessee. And then when I as I was coming back, they had a need for admin for youth and college and singles ministry. And so they asked would I be willing to do that. And I came on staff. So I was kind of coming off of a longer term mission experience, still never thinking this would be my career or my life journey, my life occupation. But then while I was on staff, my job was to plan 4 different mission events a year. So both domestically, like for the middle school, high school would do domestic and international, singles would do international, college and career would often do international. So I was involved in kind of the details of that for many years, working with whoever was the mission, Jack was the missions guy at the time. Yeah. And so just working with all of that. And each year I did it, I just kind of felt like the Lord had knitted me together in a different way from everybody else on the trip. I just felt a different draw, a different fit. It fit me better. It fit me well.
Right. It didn't feel like a short-term endeavor.
Right. It felt like it was just part of what I was supposed to be doing. Yeah. And about the 3rd summer of doing that, I remember sitting in my office in the hub And I just kind of told God, listen, if you're wanting me to do this long term, just let me know. If not, I'm happy to still be involved in whatever that looks like in Knoxville or whatever I can do from West Park. And within a few months, the Lord had brought across my path this team of individuals and families from a church in Kentucky that were going to move to Ireland and do support the national workers that were already doing things with their own culture in Dublin, but needed support, needed help, needed extra hands, needed extra training, needed extra people to do that. So I came on board with that.
And that was right up your alley. I mean,
I loved it.
Very administrative, and you just excel at that. That's what you've done. Everybody that really knows Stephanie knows she's a planner and an organizer, and that really just hit home with you.
I'm happy to play. I don't like to visioneer and try to figure out the direction of things, but if you tell me what you want done and what direction you want things to go,
she's your gal.
I can make it happen.
Yeah.
Or I can work to make it happen. And that was such a good fit because a lot of what I was already doing through West Park and in Knoxville, leading students, doing discipleship, helping plan events and coordinate retreats and things like that, I could do that for this Irish pastor that I worked with for about 8 years. And I really enjoyed that. And West Park got behind me. I went with ABWE, so I enjoyed the training with that and the relationships that built, and it was great.
Yeah. So those were the years of, I'm trying to remember what year you went to Ireland.
2008 to almost 2017. It was the very end of 2016 I moved.
Yeah. Yeah, you went to Ireland about the time that I took my first international mission trip to Greece, which is funny because there's been a transition from Ireland.
Yes. Back in 2016, the refugee population exploded in Greece. And the partners that I already knew through West Park and through mission trips and through my long-term time there before I started working at West Park, they needed help. They needed a native English speaker. They needed someone that they knew they could work with already. They needed someone that kind of already understood the ministry and they weren't going to be training from zero. And so they asked me one summer when I was there planning a conference for my Irish missionary friends and Western Europe missionary
partners. Isn't it funny
partners.
how God does that?
Yes. They just asked me, would you pray about it at least? And I did, and I asked others to pray about it, and the Lord just overwhelmingly confirmed that a transition to Greece was going to be my next move. So I moved there in May of 2017. So I just passed my 5th anniversary there, which is crazy.
Well, it was interesting because, I mean, your heart's desire was, I'm going to live in Ireland forever.
Yeah.
And but God just really made it clear as that ministry kind of shifted and changed and your role changed, and he kind of led you like, I don't know that this is where God has me. Like, I don't feel like I'm maybe being used fully to the potential that God has for me.
Yeah.
And so then Greece opened up, and I can't believe you've been there for 5 years.
5 years.
I'm still trying to get there again.
Yeah.
But so tell us what you moved to a similar situation in Greece from Ireland.
A lot of what I do, I kind of tell people I wear 2 or 3 different hats. So we have a lot of different things. It's really a seasonal ministry. There are certain seasons we're doing certain ministries, and certain seasons other ministries are kind of the at the forefront of what we're doing. And so in the summer, which we've just finished, it's camps. We help run camps. We host our own camps. And we also have teams coming from the States to help us run these camps. So pretty much from May through the end of July, we are busy. We have groups here. I help run an internship program. I have interns that come and help us in the summer because we just really need extra hands, extra people that can just fill in these gaps so that the same people don't have to be there for 17, 18 hours a day. And then the rest of the year, I do a lot of work with whatever refugee ministries we have at the time, whether it's teaching English. I've done a lot of that. Enjoy that. There's a lot of refugees that speak English with a Southern accent, thanks to me.
As it should be.
Absolutely. And there, I have helped run day centers. I've helped with kids programs. Now with COVID, we kind of shifted it more into kind of distributions, trying to make sure people had what they needed, that they could access medicine or essential food supplies, essential hygiene items. And now coming into the fall, we're kind of praying about what is that going to look like. what are the needs now. We're trying to refocus all that. And then the third hat I kind of wear is I help with both those ministries. I kind of help with teams that want to come from the States that want to be involved either with our camp ministry or our refugee ministry. So within those two kind of different jobs I have, teams want to come help with both. So I'm often liaisoning with pastors, emailing back and forth, getting details, working with our home office in Chattanooga, just trying to help ministry trips happen, which were things that I did at West Park, which was great.
So you've been doing. So let's go back to camps for a minute. How many would you say come through your camps during the summer?
We have, from pretty much as far as week-long camps, we have camps from the middle of June through the end of July, and it's full. And I'd say on camp each week, we have close to 150, 130 each of those weeks. So by the end of the summer, we've had 700,000.
That's a big camp.
700 different people come through.
Wow.
But then you count, churches have retreats, events, things like that. We have thousands that come through in the summer just for a day.
Coordinating.
Yeah.
So interns are a huge help.
Big time.
And this summer you had 8.
I had 8 interns. I had 4 that we knew were coming for the whole summer, and then 2 from Finland joined us. That was really great to have 2 girls from Finland that we had known from last summer. They visited us, and then 2 of the young adults that were on a team that came this summer, they just really felt the Lord calling them to stay for an extra 2 weeks, so they stayed on. So for a 2.5 week period, I had 8 interns. Wonderful. It was great.
Because I know in the past you were like, I could use some more help, please.
We had plenty this summer. It was great.
That's great. That's really good. As far as the refugee camps and stuff that you work with on a regular basis, I know you are also, now it's probably changed a little bit with COVID, but trying to build relationships with those people. How many different kind of families or groups would you say that you all work with? Or is there even a way to keep track of?
Well, at this point, refugee ministry in Greece is smaller than it's ever been in the last 5 or 6 years. During COVID, I don't think COVID was the only reason, but travel wasn't happening very often. So even getting to Greece was difficult. But then once they get to Greece, there aren't jobs, there aren't houses, there aren't, it's difficult. So right now we are trying to minister to a specific group of people that are a Kurdish group. And then another group that are from Afghanistan, but they've all been in Greece for a longer period of time. They're about 20 minutes south of where the Cosmovision Center is that I work at daily. And we're just trying to wait and see what the Lord has, because a lot of Greece has put a lot of the people, tried to consolidate, because we have so few or decreasing numbers in the different areas. So they've tried to consolidate everybody.
Kind of move them all to
so
one
it all
place.
Got shifted around during COVID. So we're trying to, in the fall, we're going to be able to recalibrate and kind of see where are we.
What that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So between the campers and the refugees and then all of the groups, you guys have a lot going on.
We do.
And I know you and I have talked that, there might be a little bit of a shift of your responsibilities, or is that something that you want to talk about?
Well, I think whenever you're in a job, or especially a ministry that is high energy, requires a high level of activity, you have to think about how do you sustain that, and it isn't just the same people doing it year in and year out. So we are praying and asking the Lord to bring on board some younger people that actually see this as something they could do as their job, or that they would want to do as their future ministry. And then I'm praying that the Lord will move me kind of more into a coordinating kind of a role, or trying to help orchestrate what needs to go on, make a plan, keep things running from more of a...
Like have a team that you
have a team
over.
That we can do. So I'm still involved, but I'm not the only person involved with interns.
It becomes very heavy.
Yes. There are, we have people that are setting up for camps, but it's not just 2 or 3 of us always doing it, trying to find a way that we can grow our team in a way that not everyone has to do everything all the time, that we have people that we can have some gaps of time in evenings and weekends to give us time. And I would really like to work in the future on developing our internship program. I don't want it just to be, hey, come and work for us for the summer. I want to be able to invest in young people and see, what is God telling you while you're here? What is God talking to you about what's next in your life? And I enjoy having time to do that. And young people need to not just be working there 20, 30, 40 hours a week. They want to build relationships with people. So I want to be more involved with that. And then I'm also looking to, as I get older and as I look at what my skill set is, are there ways I can be involved with events that AMG does in Greece, or programs that they're involved in, or other organizations that we help host things in Greece? Is there a way, now that I speak more Greek, that I'm able to be involved with kind of the organizing, administrating of that, because that's well within my skill set.
Yeah.
And it would also be something I could do for the next 15, 20 years, past the time when I'm able to help be setting up tables, tearing down chairs,
running camps until all hours of the day. Yeah.
So I'm looking for opportunities like that. And we're all kind of trying to see, what does God have for us as we grow? Who does God have to join our team and kind of help us expand and keep what we've been doing going well, but then also allow for whatever the Lord might be calling us to do in the future and things like that.
Yeah. Well, at the end, we'll give a way for people to get in touch with you if they're interested in finding out more about your ministry, or if they might think, that sounds really interesting. I might want to be an intern, or I might want to find out more about what AMG, which AMG stands for
Advancing the Ministries of the Gospel.
Right. That's the board that you're working through.
Yep.
And like you said, they're located in Chattanooga.
Yep.
Which is great. They're close by.
Yes.
But if there's, ways that people can get in touch with you, find out more about your ministry, support you, or find out if there's a way that they can be involved, we'll include that kind of at the end. And then on a personal note, you've been working on something almost as a side job, it feels, looking for your own place.
Yes.
In Greece.
Yes.
Share about that.
I'm trying to find a way to invest the money that I have for housing and not just keep throwing it to the wind as rent. And as I get older and think about, okay, what is the future? I'm asking the Lord to give me an opportunity to invest in assets, something that could be something I invest in rather than just living in and then I leave whenever I retire, or whatever that looks like at the end of my ministry. But also as missionaries, we do not make a salary. We get support.
Right.
The money we need for things comes in at that amount. So many times missionaries are left at the end of their time ministering, whether it's retirement age or they're forced to come back due to family issues or things that they need to come back home to take care of. They don't have an asset. They don't have something to help them in the retirement years.
And then they're just kind of left in the lurch.
Yes, it's difficult because you don't support a missionary after they retire till their death.
Right.
And that's not expected. So I'm trying to pray. I've been praying about, Lord, how do I create something, or how do you help me create something that would allow me to support myself when those years come far in the future. Many years into the future.
In fact, the Lord may return before, but many years, yes.
Definitely. But my goal is to purchase a home in Greece and to live in part of it, and then create a 1-bedroom apartment in the other part of it that I can use for ministry. I can use it for, if a young missionary couple comes to the field and they need somewhere to live for 6 months while they try to figure out where do they want to live permanently, or if a young refugee family is moving into a permanent housing situation and they need somewhere to go, or a college student has just finished school and is trying to figure out what to do but doesn't want to move back home. How can I provide something that will provide me some extra income, but also I can give it to them at a rate that will help them as well, not above market value. And so it will help me pay back the money towards the house, but also let my house be a blessing to those that need help or need a break as well. And then my goal would be in my retirement years to either sell it or continue to rent it out and have an income of some sort based on that. So that's my hope and prayer, that the Lord just continue to provide. I found a house I like. The lawyers are helping me work on it. We're trying to figure out all the paperwork, which is not
in
fun.
another country,
In
a
another
different
language. Yes,
language.
it's not as fun as it sounds.
No, I don't even think it sounds fun. It's hard enough to buy a house in a country where you speak the language.
Absolutely.
And so like I said, that's what I was joking. It's almost like a second job.
It definitely is.
It takes a lot of time, and thankfully you have people that you can trust that are helping you.
Yes, I found one that I thought was the right answer, and thankfully the Lord used all those that have surrounded me with better knowledge than me to find out it was not the right one for many reasons. And so I'm thankful that the Lord's given me friends and resources to be able to pursue. And so far, taking it one step at a time, and we'll see where it goes.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm praying that works out soon.
Thank you.
And
Me too.
especially so my husband and I could come visit.
I'll have a 1-bedroom apartment. You
I'll
can
be
come and
renting
stay.
that. I may rent it for a month.
There you go. That's what I'll do. I'll start charging rent.
There you go. You can rent it out to all your friends. that wanna
Timeshares.
come and visit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that would put you in a whole nother tax issue right there, wouldn't it? I'm serving the Lord, but well, that's neat. So there are a lot of things that you get to be involved with, and lots of things to think about and pray about.
Yes.
And, what would be things that you would maybe be, I wouldn't say heavy concerns, but things that you're like, if I was praying for you today, what would you want me to pray for?
I think some of the things we've talked about, first of all, just the Lord's divine provision and guidance for the house. I don't want to tie myself to something that's going to drown me over the next decade of ministry and really divert my attention from what he has. So I want it to be a blessing. I want it to be something that I can walk into a home and take a deep breath rather than crying
Make
and
it tense.
making me tense. So, that's the thing, is the Lord would continue to provide and guide me in that process. And secondly, that the Lord would, as we start our fall ministry, just show us what are the needs now in Greece. We don't want to keep throwing resources or throwing time at things that are not a need anymore.
Right.
So the Lord would show us who has needs around us and how is he calling us to fill those, and who is he calling to join us to help filling those needs. And just for wisdom, as each year it's like, okay, Lord, what are you calling me to do? What needs are you calling me to fill? And I feel like each year he's been very clear on what he wants me to do. So I'm asking that again in this fall, that the Lord would just help me continue to fill in these roles that he's designed me to do ahead of time. And now he's going to point me in that direction, and he's given me the gifts, and he'll continue to give me the strength to do those things. So we're just asking him what that looks like with the refugee community, with the camp community, that the Lord would give me continued patience and wisdom with teams, how to direct that. I'm a bridge between a lot of things, and I want to do that well, not break down communications. I want to be effective in keeping networks going and things like that.
And I can imagine that can be very stressful in the world that is constantly changing.
Yes.
And as we watch, really everything's changing at lightning pace.
Yes. I often say I strive to be a bridge, but sometimes that means you get kind of caught in the crossfire between the two camps.
Yes.
So just trying to.
You are, caught in the middle sometimes. Yeah. Wow. Well, those are certainly things for us to think about and to take to heart and to pray for you about. I have one last question.
Okay.
Here's the question. I'm going to ask everybody in these partner highlights. So our podcast is about impacting the world.
Mm-hmm.
What direct, I can't say that word. What direct impact was influential to get you to where you are now? If that was a person or a book. I think because sometimes we forget that there are lots of impacts and influences that get us where we are, and sometimes we're that influence for somebody else. So what was that impact on you that kind of like, was there a person that led you in that direction, or a circumstance? And we've kind of talked a little bit about it, but if there's one thing that you might say, this was an impact on me and it's been influential.
I think for me, it has been the opportunities to do short-term work. West Park has made that available to people from high school age up. And just the exposure to different cultures, to different ministries, but specifically the fact that I was able to, on 2 different occasions, do that for more on my own, not on a team, but for a longer amount of time, to see what does a normal Thursday night look like.
Yeah, right.
What does Sunday prep look like for a missionary family? What does homeschool look like for people? How can I help? And just coming along and serving a family cross-culturally for a longer period of time, it gives you a bit more of a insight into what is life like, not just when a team comes and everything kind of revolves around the team for the week, but when you're there by yourself, you get to kind of see what is the good, what is the hard, what is the normal, what is the just day to day look like. That was really influential. And then one book I read that really shifted my thinking into this should be more permanent was a book called Don't Waste Your Life by John Piper. And it was just talking about, we think we're risking all of this. We have all this control, and any decision we make, we're inviting risk, or we're embracing risk. And it was talking about the fact that this is all God's, and that if you're in God's plan, you're risking nothing, because he knows your days.
Yeah.
He's known your days beforehand.
Wow.
He knows your days to come. And there's really not the same risk involved if you're in the center of God's will in Knoxville, Tennessee, or in the middle of Africa, or in the middle of Turkey, or the middle of Germany. If he's with you, there's not the amount of risk. Yes, you're following his will, and your days are his days. And so it was challenging to me to kind of rethink how I thought about risk versus having things I could control about my life and things like that.
Yeah. Wow. That is really good. I'm going to list that book in the show notes, because that is a very good book. And I think an excellent reminder, if we are striving to follow God's will, it isn't a risk. And I know as a single person, that looks different than a married person, or a business person, or a ministry person.
Yep.
But none of that really matters at the end of the day if we're all striving to follow God's will. I think that's fantastic. And you've given a great segue for me to later share more about mission trips.
Great.
I'm sure we will have an episode about mission trips, because they're a huge impact. And like you said, the team dynamic for a week to go is very different than if you go for a month, or, by yourself and
Yes.
you live that life. So that was great. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having me.
It has been so much fun to sit down and talk to you in this fancy way with headphones and microphone. But glad that you could be with me today, and tell people how they can get in touch with you so that they can reach out if they do, like I said, want to support you or just learn more about your ministry.
The best way to get a hold of me is my email address, which is stephaniek@amginternational.org.
Great. I will add that also to the notes. And again, it's been fantastic having you here today.
I've enjoyed it.
Thanks for stopping by. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Impact the World, produced by West Park Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing with a friend.